Hi and welcome to our new YouTube tutorial. In this video we're going to be creating a couple of different CSS loaders. Such loaders are used before the web page is loaded. Nowadays you may come across them on every modern website. Before we dive deeper into our project, I'm going to say a special and huge thank you to Skillshare for helping our channel by sponsoring this video. Skillshare is an online platform and community for courses on all kinds of topics. It makes education available and accessible for anyone who wants to learn something new or just level up the skills. You can take the courses by watching videos and then practice what you have learned by making your class projects by using your new skills and knowledge. Skillshare offers thousands of great classes on topics like illustration, graphic design, web development, music production, photography, and much more. It is a place where millions of students come together to take the next step in their creative journey. Skillshare members get unlimited access to thousands of inspiring classes, hands-on projects, and feedback from a community of millions for a very affordable price at less than $10 a month annually. I'm excited to tell you that the first 1,000 people who will use the link in the description will get a free trial of Skillshare Premium membership. So you'll be able to get access to all different classes on the platform, learn some new stuff, and develop your skills that can be applied in real life. So join up. Alright, let's go ahead and dive deeper into our project. So overall we'll have 3 different loaders. Let's describe them quickly. The first loader consists of 9 dots. They are placed on 3 different lines, and each dot has an animation. Their scales and the opacities are increasing with some intervals. I mean that the duration of the animation for each dot is different. In the second loader we have 5 different lines. During the animation their sizes are increasing with different delay times. As for the third loader, it consists of 5 different circles, and each circle has a nice animation. Those lighter things are created using the before pseudo elements. Alright, so that's what we are going to create in this video. We will use HTML and CSS, so let's get started. I've created a new folder on the desktop called CSS Loaders. Right now it is empty. Let's go ahead and open it in VS Code and create our working files for HTML and CSS. The first one is going to be index.html. As for the second one, it's going to be style.css. Next, I'm going to open the index.html file and create a basic HTML document. For that we need to place here an exclamation mark and then hit enter or tab. Alright, so here we have the basic HTML tags. At first let's change the title. We need here CSS loaders. Then I'm going to link the CSS file. For that let's open link tag and specify here the path of the file. Alright, so now we have to run the project to the browser and then start to write the code. In order to open the project in the browser, I'm going to use one of the VS Code packages called a live server. It allows us to run the project live to the browser. Okay, finally, let's place the editor and the browser side by side, like so, and get started. So I'm going to start with the first loader, I mean those brown dots. So let's go ahead and first of all create the HTML markup. I'm going to open the div tag with the class name container. It will include the entire content. Then I'm going to open another div tag with the class loader1. So overall we will have 9 dots, and I'm going to create them using div elements with the class dot. Alright, so that's it about the HTML markup. Right now nothing is visible on the page because we have just the empty div tags. Now we can start to write the CSS. First of all, I'm going to create some reset styles. Let's select all the elements using an asterisk. I'm going to get rid of default margin and padding from every element. So let's set both of them to 0. Throughout this tutorial, I'm going to use rem as the measurement unit. Right now, 1 rem equals 16 pixels because By default, the font size of the HTML element is equal to 16 pixels. I want to convert 1 rem into 10 pixels, and for that we have to decrease the font size of the HTML element. Let's set it to 62.5%. Alright, next I'm going to take care of the container. Let's select it and define its width and height. I'm going to set width to 100%. As for the height, it's going to be 100% of the viewport. And also, let's set display to flex. Right now, I'm going to place the first loader in the center, but then once we create the rest of the loaders, I will change the flex layout slightly. In order to center the element, we need justify content center and align items center. Okay, so that's it about the container. Next, I'm going to select and customize the loader itself. So let's select it and set its width to 20 rem. Alright, next, let's go ahead and customize the dots. Let's set width and height, both of them, to 3 rem. Then I'm going to make them rounded using border radius with the value 50%. Also change the background color, make it A5 to A2A. Next, I'm going to create some space around the dots using margin. Let's set it to 1.6 rem on all 4 sides. And finally, change the opacity, make it 0.6. So now the dots are visible, but we have to align them in the right way. For that, let's use the flex box. I'm going to set display to flex. Then in order to align elements on 3 lines, we have to wrap them. So we need flex wrap with the value wrap. And then I'm going to center them using justify content center. So as you can see, the dots are aligned. Okay, so now it's time to create the animation. We will do that using CSS keyframes. Let's take a look at the finished project. As you can see, during the animation, the dots are getting bigger and also the opacity increases. Let's go ahead and create the CSS keyframes. I'm going to call it animate loader 1. So during the animation, we need to increase the scale of the elements. So at 0%, I'm going to set transform scale to 1. Then at 50%, I'm going to increase the scale and also increase the opacity. So we need transform scale with the value 1.5. And the opacity is going to be 1. As for the 100%, I mean at the end of the animation, we need to decrease the scale and also we need to decrease the opacity. Alright, so the keyframes are created and now we have to apply these rules to the elements. For that we have to use an animation property. As we said, we need different animation durations for the dots. So I'm going to select them using the nth chart selector. Let's select the first one. Then use animation. We have to pass here a couple of different values. The first one is going to be the name of the keyframes, animate loader 1. Then we need the duration. It's going to be 1.5 seconds. And also we need infinite because the animation should run infinitely. So as you can see, the first dot is already animating. Let's duplicate this code 8 times because overall we have 9 dots. And then change the numbers of the nth chart selectors and also the durations. For the second one we need 1.3 seconds. Then the next one is going to be 1.7 seconds. Next we have the fourth element. The duration is going to be 1.1 second. Then the next one is going to be 0.9. Then 0.7. The next one should be 0.5 seconds. For the 8th item, I'm going to use 1.3 seconds. And for the last dot. The duration is going to be 1.5 seconds. Alright, so finally we have here a nice animating loader. Okay, and that's it about the first loader. Let's move on and take care of the next one. Like the previous loader, at first I'm going to create the HTML markup. So overall we will have 5 lines. At first let's open div tag with the class loader2. It's going to be the wrapper. And after that create 5 lines using again div tags. So the markup is created. Let's go ahead and start to write the CSS. Let's select wrapper loader2 and set its width to 25 rem. Next I'm going to style the lines. At first let's define width and height. The width is going to be 1.5 rem. As for the height, it's going to be 5 rem. Next, let's change the background color. Make it 4169E1. And also make the lines slightly rounded using border radius with value 1 rem. So as you can see, the lines are visible. Right now the loaders are placed too close to each other. I want to create some space between them. So let's go ahead and change the value of the justify content property for the container. Let's make it space evenly. Okay, so now it's better. Next, I'm going to place the lines side by side. For that, let's use display flags. Also, I'm going to create space between them using justify content, space evenly. And also, I want to center them vertically. For that, we need align items center. Alright, so the lines are aligned in the right way, and now we have to create the animation. So during the animation, I'm going to increase the height of the lines, and the animations for each line will have a different delay time. First of all, we need to create the CSS keyframes. I'm going to call it animate loader2. So at 0%, the height is going to be 5 rem, which is the default one. Then at the 50%, the height is going to be 18 rem. And then at the end of the animation, I mean at 100%, the height is going to be again 5 rem. Alright, so the keyframes are created. Now we need to apply those rules to the lines. Let's select the lines with the nth child selectors. Select the first one. Then I'm going to duplicate it 4 times and change the numbers from 1 to 5. So we need to run the animation for the middle line without delay time. I mean for the third line. So we need animation with the name of the keyframes, animate loader2. Then the duration is going to be 0.5 seconds. And again we need infinite. Then we need similar delay time for the second and the fourth lines. So let's copy this line of code and assign it to the second and fourth lines, and also add delay time, which is going to be 0.3 seconds. As for the first and fifth lines, we need the delay time to be equal to 0.6 seconds. Alright, so as you can see, the loader works fine with a nice animation effect. With the second loader we are done. Let's move on and create the third one. As usual, I'm going to start with the HTML markup. We need to open div tag with the class loader3. And then I'm going to pass here 5 div tags with the class circle. Okay, so that's it about the HTML markup. Let's move on and start to write CSS. I'm going to select the wrapper loader3. Let's set its width to 40 rem. Then select and customize the circles. First of all, let's define width and height. I'm going to set both of them to 4 rem. Then we need to make the element rounded. Let's use border radius 50%. And also I'm going to change the background color. It's going to be the temporary background color. Let's make it light gray. So here we have the circles. Let's align them using flexbox. We need display flex, and then we have to create some space between the circles using justify content space evenly. Alright, so the animation effects will be created using CSS keyframes and the before pseudo elements. So those animating elements will be the before pseudo elements. Before we create them, I'm going to add to each circle its own color. So let's select them using nth child selector. The first background color is going to be 90BE6D. Let's duplicate this code 4 times and change the numbers and the colors. So the second background color is going to be F9C74F. Then we will have F8961E. The fourth background color is going to be F3722C. And the last one is going to be F94346. Alright, now we have to create the before pseudo elements. So let's select circle followed by before. First of all, we need to define the content. It's going to be empty. Then let's define width and height. I'm going to set both of them to 100%. And also we need to define position. Let's make it absolute. Then we need position relative for the parent element, because the circle should align according to the parent element. After that, let's make the element rounded using border radius with value 50%. And also set the opacity, make it 0.5. So right now the elements are not visible because they don't have the background colors. If we assign to them some temporary background color, let's say light gray, then you will see them clearly. Okay, so now I'm going to assign to each pseudo element the proper background color. Actually, we can grab this entire code from here, and then we need to add to them just the selector before. So now everything is ready and we can create the animation. First of all, let's define the CSS keyframes. The name is going to be animate loader 3. So we have to increase the scale of the pseudo elements, and then we need to hide them. The steps should be following. At 0%, we need scale to be 1. Then at 50%, the scale is going to be 2.5. The next step is going to be 75%. And again, we need scale to be 2.5. And after that, we need to hide the element. So at 80%, I'm going to set opacity to 0. And also, at the end of the animation, at 100%, the opacity is going to be 0. Alright, so that's it about the CSS keyframes. Now we have to use the animation property. Let's assign it to the before pseudo element. We need here the name, animate loader 3. The duration is going to be 2 seconds. Also, I'm going to use here one of the animation timing functions, is out, and then we need again infinite. So as you can see, the animation works. The only thing that we need to do is to add different delay times to the elements. So for the second before pseudo element, we need animation delay to be 0.2 seconds. Let's copy this line of code. For the next element, we need 0.4 seconds, then 0.6 seconds, and for the last element we need 0.8 seconds. Alright, so that's it about the third loader, and actually we are done. All three loaders are created. I hope the video was interesting and you learned some new stuff. If you like this tutorial, then please thumbs up, comment below, share it, subscribe to our channel and click the bell to get notified on coming lectures. Okay, see you next time.